to make them drive. And they had a drive-by.
And you said you know who did the shooting?
Yeah, the basketball player.
You know, guys would come through and do drive-bys. That was just like, it was a way of life.
These are 9 NBA players whose lives intersected with some of the most dangerous street gangs in America, from first-round draft picks who threw everything away to superstars who barely escaped the cycle of violence that claimed everyone around them. Some of these men openly admitted their affiliations, while others had connections that only surfaced through court documents and police investigations, and one of them is currently serving time for murder. What you're about to hear isn't speculation or internet rumors, because these are documented cases verified through court records, police reports, and the players' own words. This is the hidden side of the NBA that the league would rather you forget. Tavares Crittenton's story shows exactly how fast a promising NBA career can unravel when gang life takes over, which is why we're starting with the most extreme case on this list. 2007 brought Crittenton a first-round selection and a $2.6 million contract with the Los Angeles Lakers, giving him everything a young player could want.
And I was just excited, to be a Laker.
And that's when prosecutors say he joined the Mansfield Gangster Crips. Fulton County Assistant District Attorney Gabe Banks put it bluntly in a public statement. He is involved with the Mansfield Gangster Crips based out of Los Angeles, and this is very disconcerting to our office that gang activity extends beyond street level. Yeah, well, ESPN's Outside the Lines ran a full investigation into Crittenton's gang ties, and what they uncovered was disturbing because prosecutors alleged he joined during his rookie season, or almost immediately after signing that multi-million-dollar contract. The money and fame didn't pull him away from the streets, it pulled him deeper in. August 2011 changed everything when Crittenton became implicated in 2 shootings in the Atlanta area, and the second one on August 19th resulted in the death of Julian Jones, a 22-year-old mother of 4.
Atlanta 911 emergency operator 44.
And the police to make them drive. And they had a drive-by.
And you said you know who did the shooting?
Yeah, the basketball player. Crittenton. Crittenton.
Investigators pieced together what happened in the months before, and here's what they found. April 2011 brought a robbery that cost Crittenton $55,000 worth of jewelry, with the alleged robber being Trontavious Stevens, a member of the ROC crew affiliated with the Bloods, and Crittenton wanted revenge. Authorities say Crittenton targeted Stevens on that August night, but his bullet struck Jillian Jones instead because she happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. 12 counts followed in the indictment, including murder, felony murder, aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, firearm possession during the commission of a felony, giving false statements, attempted murder, and participation in criminal street gang activity. Years of legal proceedings followed, with a complication arising in February 2012 when the key witness, Trontavious Stevens himself, recanted his testimony and told prosecutors he never actually saw the shooter and had only identified Crittenton because a neighbor showed him photos. April 2015 brought Crittenton's guilty plea to voluntary manslaughter, and during that plea he admitted to his gang membership, which earned him 23 years in prison plus 17 years probation. Former DA Paul Howard later modified the sentence to 10 years, with time served credited, and Crittenton walked out of Wilcox State Prison on April 21st, 2023. Consider that timeline for a moment. First-round pick in 2007, joined a gang that same year, killed someone in 2011, released from prison in 2023. An entire NBA career destroyed, a young mother dead, multiple lives ruined because a millionaire athlete couldn't leave the streets behind. Steven Jackson represents something entirely different from Crittenton because he never hid his gang ties, spoke openly about them throughout his career, and continues to acknowledge them today.
A lot of y'all niggas been whole block pulling up, taking pictures. Where we at?
Tell them how they coming.
We in the middle of it.
Middle.
Fuck you mean, nigga?
A 2005 ESPN interview captured Jackson explaining his relationship with the Bloods in his own words. "It's what I've represented since I was 9 years old. All my friends in my neighborhood, it was just inherited. I ain't banging though." That same interview showed Jackson pointing to a red bandana in his locker while telling the reporter, "You know what that is, Bloods." And he identified his specific set as 3200 block 3200. Jackson drew a clear line between cultural affiliation and active participation, describing his involvement as inherited, something that came from his environment rather than a conscious choice to join a criminal organization. That environment carried real brutality, though. Donald Buckner, Jackson's half-brother, died at age 25 after being beaten to death, and Jackson was around 14 or 15 years old when it happened. Reports describe Buckner getting attacked outside his girlfriend's home by a jilted ex-boyfriend who brought 2 cousins along, with one of them cracking a bottle over Buckner's head. 10 years in prison for robbery, drugs, and other crimes. That's what Jackson's father, George Aldridge, served. Gang affiliation wasn't a choice in that world, it was survival. Jackson admitted to selling drugs as a teenager, describing it as a fad and the easy way out. And that's where his story gets complicated, because Jackson built a successful 14-year NBA career, won a championship with the San Antonio Spurs in 2003, became a key player on the We Believe Golden State Warriors team that shocked the Dallas Mavericks in 2007 and accumulated real money alongside a legitimate life. September 2022 brought the murder of rapper PNB Rock, and Jackson posted an Instagram video that sparked massive controversy when he declared, "I check in everywhere I go. Everywhere I go, I call somebody from the place I'm going that I know and check in. I want to come home to my family, and I love my life."
And one thing about it, if you're a real one, you don't mind checking in.
Checking in. What'd you say?
I check in with the real one. That's why I'm in the middle of old block.
Where you at?
You see the hoop?
Where you at?
I'm in the middle of old block, nigga.
Checking in means making contact with local gang members when you enter their territory, a practice rooted deep in gang culture, and here stood a former NBA champion with millions of dollars and every opportunity to leave that life behind, openly endorsing it. Critics accused Jackson of glorifying gang culture, while defenders argued he was simply acknowledging his roots and staying true to who he is. Loyalty to your past becomes irresponsible at some point, and when young fans are watching, authenticity may not justify promoting gang practices. Jackson never backed down and never apologized because he is who he is, and he's never pretended otherwise. Zach Randolph's situation differs from both Crittenton and Jackson because confirmed gang membership isn't the issue here. It's proximity, association, and the people he chose to keep around him. Portland Trailblazers years brought Randolph relocating a group of friends from his hometown to Oregon, and they called themselves the Hoops family, while showing up in hallways after home games wearing extravagant necklaces featuring the acronym HOOP, standing for Helping Others Overcome Problems. That sounds innocent enough until you learn that police documents and media reports connected some members of this group to suspected ties with the Crips gang. New Year's Day 2011 brought everything to a head when bouncer Ruben Mata took a fatal bullet at Club 915 in Portland, and the alleged shooter was Kevin Charles Moffitt, described by local news as a known member of Randolph's entourage. Randolph himself faced no direct implication in the shooting. The Indiana drug investigation followed in 2010 when ESPN reported that a probable cause affidavit in Marion County Superior Court identified Randolph as a financier for known drug dealers, with a trusted police informant calling him a major marijuana supplier in Indianapolis. Arthur Boyd, one of Randolph's friends, caught an arrest in Randolph's 2008 Cadillac Escalade carrying 90 grams of marijuana, yet Randolph never faced charges connected to the investigation. John Canzano, the Oregonian's lead sports columnist, reported something disturbing after someone on the Portland Police Department's gang enforcement team told him to watch an MTV Cribs episode featuring Randolph's home because police kept a copy and noticed disturbing details about the unsavory people who hung around Randolph. Jonathan Abrams captured the contradiction at the heart of Randolph's story in a 2012 Grantland article titled The Two Lives of Zach Randolph, where Oregonian beat writer Jason Quick offered this assessment. Down at his core, Zach was and is a good person. He was also enamored with kind of this gangster life. He wanted to be seen that way. August 2017 brought another arrest at Nickerson Gardens Housing Project in Watts for felony possession of marijuana with intent to sell. After police discovered roughly 2 pounds of marijuana, those charges dropped to misdemeanor possession and resisting arrest, earning him a no contest plea and 150 hours of community service before dismissal in 2018. Randolph's case occupies a gray area because he never received confirmation as a gang member and never caught a conviction for serious crimes, but the pattern of associations, the police attention, the people around him getting arrested, and even killing people all painted a picture of someone who couldn't or wouldn't separate himself from that world. Tony Allen's story requires a correction that's been floating around the internet for years, because many sources claim he affiliated with the Gangster Disciples, but that's not accurate. Available evidence connects Allen to the Black Disciples, a rival faction, and this distinction matters, as you'll see. Chicago shaped Allen, and in that city, gang culture isn't just present, it's unavoidable, which meant his connection to that world became a professional issue during his NBA career in ways that seem hard to imagine. August 28, 2005 brought the most serious incident when Allen caught an indictment on 3 counts of aggravated battery stemming from a fight that escalated into a shooting outside a Chicago diner called White Palace Grill. A man named Mark Twain Johnson, 29 years old, took bullets in his left arm and side. Allen wasn't the shooter, but allegedly participated in the altercation that triggered the shooting, and his bond landed at $150,000 before a 2-day bench trial ended with a not guilty verdict on April 25, 2007. Gang connections followed him anyway. The 2008-09 playoffs brought death threats when the Boston Celtics played in Chicago, serious enough that both the Celtics and Bulls arranged extra security near the Boston bench for Game 3 on April 23, 2009. Reporters asked Allen about the death threats, and he responded defensively with, "Is that what you're going to write about?" The most revealing moment arrived when Allen joined the Memphis Grizzlies. and general manager Chris Wallace sat him down to ask a question that would be unthinkable in most professional contexts. Allen described it on his podcast, Out the Mud. He come to me, he said, "Hey TA, I love to have you, man, but I have my research team on you, and is it going to be a problem playing with Zach Randolph since you guys are two different disciples?" A $9.7 million contract sat on the table while an NBA general manager asked a player whether his gang affiliation would cause problems with a teammate from a rival faction. Allen's surprise response suggested he didn't see this as a professional issue, but management's concern spoke volumes about how seriously these affiliations registered behind closed doors.
Is it going to be a problem to play with Zach Randolph since you guys are two different disciples? I said, what? Mind you, he got a $9.7 million deal on the table. It's honest God truth. Bro, it blew me.
James Harden's alleged gang connections center around a single incident in 2012 that sparked accusations from the hip-hop community and speculation that persists today. First, a common error needs correcting because Harden grew up in Compton, California, not South Central Los Angeles. Since Compton is a separate incorporated city where his mother Manja Willis raised him, the 2012 playoffs brought the controversy when Harden appeared on court during a June 4th game against the San Antonio Spurs, making hand gestures that some interpreted as Bloods gang signs. Social media activity amplified the situation when Harden tweeted at rapper Lil Wayne on May 31st, 2012, "Come to the next game, we got seats for you 5, whoop!" Both the number 5 and the word whoop drew interpretation as references to Bloods vernacular because the Bloods use specific hand signals and language associated with the number 5 and 5-pointed stars. The hip-hop community responded harshly when rappers Slim Thug and Lil Duval both took to Twitter accusing Harden of false claiming, suggesting he used gang symbols without being a genuine member, and arguing he was not about that life. Harden's friendships with rappers known to affiliate with the Bloods, including Lil Wayne, contributed to the rumors alongside his upbringing in Compton, an area with significant gang activity. Complete silence defines Harden's approach to this matter because, unlike other players who have either confirmed or denied gang connections, Harden has never publicly addressed these allegations, never confirmed anything, never denied anything, just let the speculation continue. No statement from Harden himself and no documented evidence beyond hand gestures and a tweet make this one of the most ambiguous cases on this list. DeMar DeRozan's story differs from everyone else we've discussed because this isn't about allegations of membership or active participation. It's about survival, about a kid who grew up surrounded by gang violence and somehow made it out alive. Compton, California raised DeRozan in a neighborhood dominated by the Pocket Hood Compton Crips, and a 2018 ESPN interview captured him describing how gang affiliation shaped identity in his environment.
Teenage years, I dealt with so much death at an early age. My best friend was killed, December 31st, 2017, when he was supposed to be with me. I had a lot of survivor's remorse with a lot of people I lost before I was even in college.
It's the first thing you feel accepted by. It's all I knew. I look back on it now and it makes no sense, but growing up it made perfect sense. Gang violence hit DeRozan's life immediately and devastatingly because he attended his first funeral at age 5 after his uncle Kevin caught a bullet through the heart from a member of the rival Bloods gang. DeRozan described Kevin as one of the biggest Crips in Compton. More death followed when another uncle, Lamar, the man DeMar is actually named after, died in a drive-by shooting at age 20. New Year's Eve 2009 brought the worst loss during DeRozan's senior year of high school when he sat at home waiting for his best friend to come over, but Davian Childs never made it after catching a fatal bullet in a dispute over a dice game. DeRozan was 17 years old. Diane DeRozan, his mother, lost so many people to violence that she stopped counting and put it this way: "I've been to so many funerals in the hood, I lost count."
Looking at my mama every single day, and I remember one year my mama went to 10 funerals.
Direct connections to gang activity ran through DeRozan's family on multiple sides, with relatives cycling in and out of jail while violence stayed constant and death became normal. No solid evidence exists connecting DeRozan himself to active gang membership despite all of this, and interviews show him discussing the challenges of growing up in gang territory. Being around gang territory, you don't think about it as being that bad because you grow up in it, it's kind of all you know. DeRozan's parents, particularly his father, kept him focused on basketball by making sure he never arrived late to practices, games, or tournaments. Basketball became his escape, the thing that kept him away from gangs, drugs, and street violence. Trauma never fully went away, though, because the constant presence of gang violence shaped DeRozan's mental health and contributed to his well-documented struggles with depression. Public discussions of these battles made him one of the first NBA stars to openly address mental health issues. Well, DeRozan's memoir captured it directly. It wasn't easy trying to be a kid in a place where making it through each day alive felt like an accomplishment. DeRozan's story isn't about someone who chose gang life, it's about someone who survived it and used basketball as his path out of the cycle of violence that claimed so many people around him. Paul Pierce's connection to gang allegations centers around a single incident during the 2008 playoffs that resulted in one of the NBA's largest fines for gang-related behavior. April 26, 2008 brought Game 3 of the first-round playoff series against the Atlanta Hawks, which the Celtics lost 102-93, and during the fourth quarter, Pierce made a hand gesture toward Hawks player Al Horford while attempting to stare him down. The gesture involved forming a circle with his thumb and index finger while extending the other three fingers. The NBA responded by fining Pierce $25,000 for what they termed a menacing gesture, and NBA spokesman Tim Frank explained the fine covered the totality of everything Pierce did. Pierce issued a statement denying any gang-related intent. I 100% do not in any way promote gang violence or anything close to it. I am sorry if it was misinterpreted that way at Saturday's game. Boston Celtics general manager Danny Ainge defended Pierce by stating the gesture was actually a routine pregame ritual where Pierce holds up three fingers to represent blood, sweat, and tears. So watch what Paul does when he's introduced. He's done it for every game, Ainge explained. That's not anything related to gangs. Inglewood, California raised Pierce after he moved there with his mother during middle school from Oakland, and the city carried enough gang activity that even hardcore hip-hop artists took note of its violence. Public discussion connected the 2008 incident to something earlier in Pierce's career from September 2000 during his second NBA year, when he caught a stabbing at the Buzz Club in Boston's Theater District around 1 a.m. 11 stab wounds to the face, neck, and back, along with a bottle smashed over his head, and Pierce survived what should have been fatal.
And so it was a night when I went in Buzz Club, and I caught myself talking to some young ladies. You know, I'm single at the time. Next thing I know, one of the young ladies, I don't know if it's her dude, I don't know what. Next thing I know, a guy approached me like, that's like, you know, you don't talk to her. And I'm like, what? And she like I don't really mess with dude. Like, next thing you know, I'm in a tussle with him. It happened so fast, man.
William Ragland, the attacker, eventually caught a conviction in 7 to 10 years in prison. Questions arose at the time about whether the stabbing connected to gangs given Pierce's Inglewood background, but Pierce's own account described a random altercation that escalated rather than a targeted gang hit. No documented evidence links Pierce directly to gang membership, despite the speculation surrounding both incidents. The $25,000 fine remains, but the actual gang connection never found proof. Karen Butler's story might be the most remarkable on this list, not because of how deep he went into street life, but because of how completely he transformed himself.
I was always nervous. I was always scared, you know, just waking up and, you know, always looking over your shoulder, you know, thinking about being shot at or seeing everyone in my inner circle die.
Racine, Wisconsin raised Butler in an environment surrounded by violence, including drive-by shootings and friends gunned down in what he describes as bloody street wars near his home. This wasn't a big city with famous gangs, but a small Midwestern city where the violence hit just as hard but received far less attention. Age 12 brought Butler selling narcotics, often out of a little red wagon, and that same year he purchased a .32 revolver for $100. Not even a teenager yet, he was already armed and dealing drugs. Nearly 15 arrests before his 15th birthday, that's how deep Butler's criminal involvement ran, with charges connected to drug possession and firearms that put him behind bars and in solitary confinement before he could legally drive a car. One incident stands out from his freshman year of high school when ATF agents entered his classroom, pulled guns on him, and searched his locker where they discovered a handgun and a quarter ounce of cocaine. The sting operation sent Butler to jail. A story he never even told his mother until writing his autobiography involves a high school dance where Butler accidentally shot himself and kept it secret for years. Juvenile detention became Butler's turning point because that's where he discovered basketball, and the game gave him something to focus on and work toward. Support from his mother and coaches who believed in him carried Butler to Maine Central Institute for Prep School and then to the University of Connecticut, where he played for Jim Calhoun and became Big East Co-Player of the Year in 2002. The 10th overall pick in the 2002 NBA draft went to the Miami Heat, turning the kid who dealt drugs out of a red wagon at 12 into a millionaire professional athlete. Tough Juice, My Journey from the Streets to the NBA, captured Butler's journey in his autobiography, with Kobe Bryant writing the foreword, and the book shows Butler being completely honest about everything, including the shooting, the arrests, and the drugs. The Oprah Winfrey Show in 2005 featured Butler appearing with his mother and discussing how drug dealers served as his role models growing up because he didn't hide from his past, he used it to help others. Butler's street experience proved valuable in an unexpected way during his NBA career when the infamous gun confrontation between Gilbert Arenas and Javaris Crittenton erupted in the Washington Wizards locker room in 2009. Other players fled while Butler stayed and talked Crittenton into lowering his loaded weapon. Those same instincts that helped him survive Racine's streets helped him defuse a situation that could have ended in tragedy. Dwayne Wade put it this way: Karen is an unbelievable role model, someone who got into trouble when he was young, then turned his life around and set a shining example for others. Mark Wahlberg, who worked with Butler on projects related to his story, offered this assessment: this story is as good, as dramatic, and as inspirational as any I've dealt with in my professional career. Butler's story shows that your past doesn't have to define your future, while also revealing just how close the line runs between making it out and becoming another statistic. Chicago's most beloved basketball son brings us our final story, and Derrick Rose's connection to his hometown's gang culture became a source of controversy early in his career. June 2009 brought a photograph surfacing online that showed Rose making a hand gesture at a party, though the photo actually dated from his time at the University of Memphis in 2007 or 2008, but didn't become public until after his rookie season with the Chicago Bulls ended. The Chicago Tribune identified the gesture as the pitchforks sign of the Gangster Disciples Nation. Rose's response came immediately on June 11, 2009 through a public statement issued by the Chicago Bulls. This photo of me was taken at a party I attended in Memphis while I was in school there and was meant as a joke. A bad one, I now admit. I want to emphatically state now and forever that Derrick Rose is anti-gang, anti-drug, and anti-violence. I'm not, nor have I ever been affiliated with any gang, and I can't speak loudly enough against gang violence and the things that gangs represent. In posing for this picture, I'm guilty of being young, naive, and of using extremely poor judgment. I sincerely apologize to all my fans for my mistake. Englewood on Chicago's South Side raised Rose in one of the city's most challenging neighborhoods where gang culture pervades everything, and gang affiliation can literally become a matter of survival, with the Gangster Disciples holding a significant presence there. That background turned the photo into a firestorm, but Rose has consistently maintained he has no gang affiliation, and no evidence exists to contradict that claim. Other incidents fueled speculation about Rose's connections to his community beyond the photo. September 2012 brought the death of Chicago rapper Lil JoJo, real name Joseph Coleman, who caught a fatal bullet in a drive-by shooting near 69th and Princeton in Englewood with alleged affiliation to the Gangster Disciples. A 2017 Vlad TV interview featured Lil JoJo's brother, Swag De Niro, confirming that Derrick Rose paid for the funeral expenses, explaining that Rose had someone deliver the check, which he saw covered all of the expenses. Rose also offered to pay for the funeral of Johnny Lee Watkins, a 6-month-old girl who caught a bullet on March 11, 2013 and died the following day. NBC Chicago reported that Reverend Corey Brooks confirmed Rose made the offer. Some interpreted these funeral payments as evidence of gang ties, while others saw them as a successful athlete giving back to a community that desperately needed help. Rose's actions support the latter interpretation, since August 2018 brought the Rose Scholars Program offering over $400,000 in tuition money to support higher education for young people from backgrounds like his. Family helped Rose navigate the challenges of growing up in a gang-heavy neighborhood, and his basketball talent combined with focus on education kept him away from gang involvement. Rose has consistently maintained his distance from gang culture while using his platform to advocate against violence and support youth in his hometown, unlike some other players we've discussed. Rose's story represents someone who successfully navigated a dangerous environment and used his success to give back to his community, because the photo was a mistake and everything since then suggests a man committed to being part of the solution rather than the problem.